Hey y'all, welcome back to Kalash. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. So today, kind of wanted to talk about, some stuff that you would use when you're kind of getting into shooting. And, we've definitely looked at some Gucci rifles here, and I always like to tell a story with these things. And, that kind of pertains to, someone's journey as a shooter, and sometimes we'll talk about, competition shooting. Sometimes we'll talk about war and stuff like that. And I mean, everybody's, journey is individualized, but it does all start somewhere. And, generally the best advice to new shooters and, new AK people in general is, don't blow your load on your first rifle. Don't blow your load on something you don't even know if you're going to be shooting every day or anything like that. Because, I think every piece of gear does have its place in the ecosystem, including even a cheap gun like a PSA, because if you're only gonna go plink around every 6 months or so, that gun is fine for you, man, for real. And if you wanted to step it up and spend a little more money and you're going to be shooting a lot more than that, yeah, sure, go for something a little higher priced. But I probably wouldn't go for like like an SGL, or like trying to hunt down a crink for your first gun or anything like that, especially your first AK. So like a lot of people, I started off with ARs. That's probably most of the community, most of the rifle community in general, really probably started with ARs, except for some older folks that, started with their Garens. One thing I wanted to look at today, I've been kind of thinking about just, doing a little series on products that were a big bang for the buck, because that's always been one of my big things. And it's like before I started using an RS Regulate like regularly, and largely you could see that in the beginning days of this channel, where I didn't even own an RS Regulate, and I would just use a UTG, and I really sought out the best side mount optic I could possibly find for the money, because I just didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on the rifle when I was, initially getting into competition shooting and whatnot. I'm not a hater of one or the other, the whole AR versus AK thing. So, I've just been thinking lately also, I haven't been shooting my ARs. And so I did start tearing apart my main 16-inch AR. I only actually have a couple, because even AK shooters, they usually have like 4 or 5 stuffed away. I don't actually. I have my main 16-inch rifle, then I got a T91, and that's it. And then I have a maybe an extra lower or two laying around. But I have been wanting to actually, do a little bit of AR work lately. And one project that we never really did get around to completing around here was the old T91. And being that my main 16-inch AR is in pieces right now, and, just doing a little work to it, adding a new handguard and, changing up a few things, going to change out the gas tube and whatnot. And, just little things, no big deal. Maybe some adjustable gas in the end, we'll see. But I kind of just wanted to re-explore the rifle a little bit more since the first time I put it together, because I originally bought it from a pawn shop broken, and I was like, oh, this will be fun to fix, like figure out what the fuck is wrong with it. And I'd never had a rifle before that. I'd been a pistol person all my life before that. So just went down the journey of figuring out the AR thing, which is real simple. A lot of people's starting point with their, DIY gunsmithing. And so, had a lot of fun doing that, and ended up just getting into AKs and competition shooting. These days, you have definitely seen some Gucci optics around on this channel, but these days, I'm mostly using iron sights. So, being that we never did kind of complete any sort of project really with the T91, I figured this would be actually a good opportunity to do a few things with this, just that I've had the interest lately. So a perfect opportunity arose when Feyachi Outdoors outreached and, offered to send me a few products to take a look at and see how I dug them. And, fun timing for them. They are having a Black Friday sale this month, so you definitely want to go check that out, because if you don't know who Feyachi Outdoors is, they are one of the more budget companies, and they started in 2016, and I guess you would call them a strategic seller. They do sell on pretty much primarily Amazon. I don't know where else you find them, but if you're not aware of what a strategic seller is a business that basically, rather than trying to convince the customer, they're trying to fill a need. And, clearly that need was, there's no gun parts on Amazon. And, at the time there really wasn't in 2016. So, you can find like, an EOTech or something on there. You can definitely find some optics and whatnot, but largely it's tough to find things like stocks and hand guards and stuff like that. So Feyachi Outdoors is one of those companies that's kind of serving that hole that's on Amazon. And as a lower priced company, a lot of people think one way or the other about that. And, I guess I should say lower priced products, because as lower priced products, a lot of people think one way or the other about that. Personally, I just look at the merit of the product as it is, where's its place in the ecosystem. And, oftentimes if you actually go from the budget and then check out, everything in between from, that budget piece of gear, whatever it may be, up to that Gucci piece of gear, a lot of the times you end up finding some stuff that's just awesome for the money. There's really no other way to put it. And that opportunity arose when Feyachi sent me some irons, because I didn't have any irons to put on this T91. I don't even actually have anything other than a front sight on my full-sized AR as it is right now. And being, like I said, it is in pieces right now, I figure let's get on this T91 project. So these are iron sights from Feyachi Outdoors. And I have to say, honestly, for $30 irons, these things are rather robust, I have to say. So they are not like like the Magpul M-Bus where they have a release button and they flip up. They don't do that. So they actually actuate with a nice plunger here that has a really, really solid lockup. And, it's graduated. So if you can see this tiny little bar in here, and at the bottom there, you can see that it's graduated. So it's actually a pretty thick piece of metal going through there for the lockup. And, you got pretty standard AR front sights. It's nothing to write home about, pretty standard. And it does have a detent in there, just pretty normal. Just your height. So when it comes to your windage, a nice thick knob here, and it's a nice little click wheel. So it's pretty solid. Same graduated cylinder system to actuate them. You do have a 2-position sight on these guys. So you got a standard, and you got your long range. Unfortunately, I couldn't see what they intended the holes to be, but I imagine it's pretty similar to like a A2 sights or something like that. You do have the nice little night sight dots on here, and that's pretty much what we're going to primarily be using, because well, that's the larger of the two. So that's what we're going to primarily be using, because we're just going to take this out to a Texas Kalashnikov, because I've been wanting to brush up on some AR stuff, really. Last time I was trying to do AR reloads, it was a mess, man. So I figure this will be a nice opportunity to actually brush up on that and have fun building a little project. So there's really not a lot available for these guns. And, it is a piston-driven AR upper. Obviously, that's something I dig around here because, I'm an AK guy. So I did take this out to a Texas Kalashnikov in a previous episode, and, pretty damn good. But at the time, this lower just had one of those, shockwave fins on it, which frankly hurt. That was actually really painful, because, it's a 12-inch 5.56 gun. So, it's with a factory trigger in there. It's just factory military weight. It's not exactly a huge double tapper. So, a little bit of a push in there for for a 223 gun, I should say, because I was shooting 223. You know, what's currently on there, that's actually a tail hook adapter. So from KAK Industries. So pretty neat. And really, all that this is just a standard factory Wolf A1 T91 upper. That's really all this is. So one thing I would like to do, being that this lower is actually formed, this is an SBR lower, I can legally put a stock on this if I like, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. This thing definitely needs a compensator because, you know, it's a bit of a banger, so we might as well fuck up the RO's ears. And I think we're gonna throw a trigger in here because that's one thing that, man, that always seems to help out with the you know, perceived recoil on an AR. Just a faster trigger, get your double taps off faster. And I mean, frankly, I mean, with a 12-inch, I'd like to be able to do that as fast as possible. And really, the only other thing we're gonna do is, before we do all that, Feyachi was nice enough to include this slick little black case for the irons, and it did come with an Allen wrench. Always nice. Always nice. Thank you guys. Always appreciated. So we can, and obviously these are going to be a perfect co-witness for the T91. Well, I don't know if that's obvious to you, but honestly, I'm not an AR guy, so I don't blame you if it wouldn't be obvious to you, because there's a lot of stuff with ARs that I'm like, duh, no, I don't know. I don't really read about it, honestly. You know, you got your perfect co-witness on there. Oh no, I'm shouldering my my tube. Call the ATF, call the ATF. To have them actually perfectly flat, one thing I am noticing is you are gonna have to flip it over to the smaller diopter. But flip that up, you're good to go. And that nice, really solid click wheel on there. Oh, wow, it's actually ratcheting too. So you're not gonna lose your zero with that. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. I mean, not convenient, but pretty sweet. But, you know, frankly, I never really found the use of that whole feature to flip the M-bus sights up with the press of the button. I mean, you know, I guess if you wanted to suddenly co-witness, that's one option for you, which, you know, I guess I have done in the past with, like, when I had a Gen 2 Galil Ace. But, you know, I don't think it's that important of a feature, so, you know, it doesn't bother me that you got to press the plunger on here. Frankly, I'd rather have the more solid lockup on there. The other thing I'm going to have to do is clean this goddamn thing up, because, frankly, this gun has been sitting around a little bit, honestly. But we are going to go ahead, throw a few things on here, get back to you, talk about these irons a little more, but got to tell you, just right out of the box and, you know, clapping them on, taking a look. I like the ratcheting. It's very, very nice. Very, very, very solid. You can actually adjust the tightness, like the tension of the ratcheting, which is pretty nice. That's pretty cool. And like I said, the plunger to actuate these, pretty solid. Very nice design. And I have to say, I like the way it just kind of tucks in there. Nice little cut. So it's gonna be basically the first video talking about some lower cost options that you can throw on, because I mean, let's get real. There are iron sights for ARs, man, that would literally cost more than this entire gun cost. And like I said, what this is a Wolf A1 upper on a, it's actually just a Palmetto lower. You know, I think I got it for like 30 bucks or something on sale. I had the shockwave and the grip with it, and the fire control group, come to think of it. I think it was, might have been one of them Black Friday deals, might have been some Christmas deal, I don't remember, but I just remember it was absurdly cheap. It might have been 40 or 50 bucks even, but it was absurdly cheap. So I just grabbed a couple because I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I mean, frankly, it's got tighter lockup with this upper than, you know, like an Anderson lower or something like that. Nothing wrong with Anderson, but, you know, it's just with these cheaper lowers. That's one thing I am at least aware of with ARs. With the cheaper lowers and uppers, you might actually have to clap a couple together to find a nice, decent, solid-ass lockup, because, you know, like my main 16-inch AR, yeah, it's a little rickety. I mean, it is like a, you know, nice sub 1 MOA gun, but, you know, it's a little rickety. So, it could definitely use some improvement in some departments. But anyhow, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and clap a stock on this because, as I said, this is a registered SBR. And I mean, if we can find a grip laying around, sure, but I never really had a problem with the factory AR grip. You know, I've always said I do like finger grooves, so shit actually kind of works out for me. I mean, the probably the nicest one I've tried yet was the factory grip that came with the IWI Zion that I won at Lethal Weapons, and that came with a full B5 furniture set. And we're just gonna go pretty standard with this guy. Throw a mag pull on there. We're gonna throw you know, some kind of compensator on there. We'll see what we can find locally. Just kind of need something that's, you know, 3 or 4 ports or something, and calm this thing down a little bit, make it nice and loud. We got our irons on here, so, you know, perfect co-witness. You know, there's no rail or anything, so we're only using the rear sight from Feyachi. You know, I'm not too concerned with this because, you know, the it's very standard. Everything on it is super solid. I was really more concerned with how this guy holds zero. And, you know, honestly, after checking it out and seeing that everything on it's like ratcheting, it's fucking dope. It's really solid. And being that you can adjust the tension on that if you like, you just kind of have to crank this screw on the other side here, and yeah, you can adjust your tension a little bit, but it's pretty sweet. So stay tuned. That's really all I got for you today. I got a little bit of gunsmithing to do because we got a few episodes coming up on lower cost items, including, you know, lower cost guns. So that's definitely one thing I wanted to take a look at as we prepare to go into a lot of damn history. So, you know, I'm frankly behind the scenes, I've been having fun making some history cuts, and yeah, I think we're actually going to unleash that on the world pretty soon, you know. And I mean, obviously the point of it is being from the lens of an AK person, I suppose, and kind of a history nut. So, you know, it's one thing I got going for me. I'm kind of a nut for both, and you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with AK stuff. So, you know, I think y'all like it because, you know, I doubt you're gonna really catch me talking too much about, you know, this Vietnam vet and his fucking A2 and anything like that. You know, I mean, not that I look at all history through an AK lens or anything like that, but that's the point of this channel. So yeah, we're gonna start doing a little bit more of that. You're gonna like it, I promise. Definitely been writing some cool stuff, definitely been making some cool cuts, so stay tuned, look forward to that. And in the meantime, we'll definitely be checking out a few more things and kind of diversifying the channel a little bit, you know. Maybe it'll have to be Cold War Kamaz or something like that, I don't know. Actually, you know, so anyhow, y'all, tell you the truth, without even firing these things off, I would go ahead and recommend them because they're so solid. But, you know, it's $30, like I said. You really can't beat that for a decent set of irons because, I mean, number one, they're not polymer, unlike other iron sights that are much more popular. Number two, I like that plunger actuation. That's actually a pretty nice little feature. So, yeah, I mean, we could go ahead and compare to other manufacturers and everything, but I don't think there's really a use for that. I mean, you know, again, you know, you got irons that cost more than this whole gun, so, you know, there's not really any sense in that. Every one of them has their merit. And, you know, frankly, I couldn't tell you the merit of some $300 irons because, you know, frankly, I'm not going to buy those, but, but, you know, I think every product has its place. And, you know, these have definitely found a place here, so I'm glad they reached out. I'm glad they let me check these out, so stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and zero this guy out with some new parts on it and everything like that. Take it to a match and see how it does. And like I said, stay tuned for, you know, some more lower cost products and some cool history stuff we got coming up. So thank you all. Stay safe. Have fun. Do stupid.